Hey, everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, we got some very big news that broke today, and that is Donald Trump is expected to announce his U.S. Bitcoin strategic reserve plan at the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville next week. This is pretty huge, and it's coming from Dennis Porter, who is a very credible source. I know Dennis. He does a lot of advocacy and education work in trying to get crypto regulations through. He's the CEO and co-founder of the Satoshi Act Fund. He says, this is not a joke. My sources are credible. And we've been hearing rumors about this, that Donald Trump's going to make a huge announcement that's going to be very impactful about Bitcoin and crypto. So it would make sense if he proposes the idea that the United States should use Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. That would be so bullish, folks. And once again, regardless of if you love or hate Trump, that's not the point. The point is not the politics of all this, but rather crypto has become ubiquitous. It's in politics, in pop culture, society, TradFi. People cannot ignore it anymore. They are forced to take a position. They have to understand it. They have to embrace it in one way or the other. It is here to stay. It is the next layer on top of the internet. And I'm glad I'm here early, buying the lows and looking to sell the highs to make incredible returns, and seeing what is on the horizon, that this technology is the next layer on the internet. It's going to change how we do commerce and transact with each other and trust each other. It's going to change markets and turn them into truly global markets running on the blockchain 24/7. So guys, big news coming next week, and I'm excited for this because I think the markets will react positively. In addition, you have the Ethereum spot ETFs launching on the 23rd, which is Tuesday. So get ready, folks. I think we're going to see some fireworks. Now, I'm not expecting Bitcoin to cross $100,000 next week, but rather we're building the bullish momentum, right, which will carry us to that new all-time high, because market cycle still has to play out. Right now, we're seeing the market cycles play out. Bitcoin did a bounce, and now it's cooling off a bit. It's going to build support levels. Then it's going to pump again. You know how it goes, right? Nothing goes up in a straight line. But folks, this is incredible news. Here's what Hunter Horsley of Bitwise Asset Management had to say about this. He said, people are so used to headwinds that it's hard for them to even imagine the possibility of tailwinds in DC. We're entering a new chapter. Like I said, crypto has crossed the chasm. It's become ubiquitous. And now we have a lot of people embracing it because it has become a political force and an issue and a topic they can't ignore anymore. This is incredible. And folks, we continue to see BlackRock and all of the ETF issuers buying up tons of Bitcoin. It's like a Bitcoin vacuum. It's just sucking all the Bitcoin up in the market. We got reports here that BlackRock's IBIT Bitcoin flows today was $100.4 million. To be exact, they bought 1,600 Bitcoin. Nate Geraci of the ETF store said Degen Retail, he's being sarcastic, has now bought $1.1 billion in iShares Bitcoin ETF since last Monday. 9 straight days of inflows, $1.1 billion in Bitcoin. There are people out there who are still bearish. They were like, oh, that's it. The bull market's over. We're scared. This is, oh my gosh. Zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. Look at the macro. That's how these big institutional players are looking at it. And now with the aggregate of all the issuers, the US spot Bitcoin ETF balances have hit a new all-time high of more than 900,636 Bitcoin. Over 900,000. That's including Wisdom Tree, Franklin Templeton, ARK, Bitwise, Grayscale, BlackRock, and so forth. All the big names. Incredible stuff, folks. I hope you see what's taking place here. And as stated before, those Ethereum spot ETFs are coming next week per Bloomberg. The launch is taking place on Tuesday. So billions will go into the Ethereum ETF. Not the same amount that went into Bitcoin. I think Ethereum will probably see 25 to 30% of what of the inflows that Bitcoin saw. But nevertheless, it's very bullish for the entire market because ETH is, of course, the biggest altcoin out there, right? It's the number 2 in market cap. And remember, there's a lot of layer 2s. There are a lot of tokens and so forth that are built on Ethereum. and it's very bullish for the entire altcoin market. And there's talks of Solana ETF possibly coming in 2025, possibly an XRP ETF as well. That will just be incredible. Now, a great place where you can buy Bitcoin and altcoins like Ether, Solana, XRP, and so forth is Uphold. It's a platform I've been using for years. They have 260 plus cryptocurrencies. They're available in over 150 countries. They also have precious metals. You can trade gold, silver, palladium, and platinum. Uphold is also fully reserved. They have transparency reports, so they don't commingle or lend out your funds and all that nonsense. And like I said, I've been using them for years, so I can vouch for this platform. If you'd like to learn more about Uphold, check out the link in the description. Now, guys, we know attorney John Deaton is running for Senate in the state of Massachusetts. He is running against Elizabeth Warren. John Deaton is a champion for crypto and many other things, for freedom and so forth. And I've been talking a lot about John for a long time, right? I've had him on the podcast before he was running for Senate many times, and I donated to him. I've been saying, if you live in the state of Massachusetts, vote for this man and kick out Warren. And I've also said that if you're outside the state, donate to him. Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss, the twins, of course, have both donated $500,000 in Bitcoin to John Deaton to unseat Elizabeth Warren as U.S. Senator, as Tyler says here. And he gave a full long thread as to why. It's pretty long, so I'm not going to read this, but let me just read the opening paragraph. Elizabeth Warren is one of the single greatest threats to American prosperity. When it comes to crypto, she is public enemy number one. She's the chief architect and driver of the Biden administration's war on crypto. It's what I've been saying. I've been telling you guys, it's not Biden. Biden, we know, guys, he's look, I respect Biden. I don't want you to get me wrong. I respect President Biden, and I respect what he's been able to do. But I think it's time for him to ride off in the sunset and go retire. It's past his time, and I think we need younger blood when it comes to Democrats and Republicans, because these boomers. Look, we can't have boomers running the country right now. But look, that's a whole other topic. But the fact is, Biden, he's got a good team trying to help him. Obviously, I don't agree with a lot of stuff he's doing. I don't agree with the administration's approach to crypto, but a lot of it, as I've been saying, is Elizabeth Warren. She's the one that sent that letter to tell the Democrats and Republicans, don't repeal SOB 121. It wasn't Biden. And she's the one that most likely made that call to tell him to veto it. So please understand this. Biden's not waking up in the morning saying, I hate crypto. He's being advised by Elizabeth Warren and those other cronies like Brad Sherman and Sherrod Brown and so forth. So Tyler is clearly stating that here. And this is why we got to kick Elizabeth Warren out of office and get John Deaton in there. So both Tyler and Cameron tweeted about this, their donations, but this is a huge amount that they're donating. And Cameron says the TLDR with John Deaton is he's pro-Bitcoin, pro-crypto, and pro-business. And he will put an end to Elizabeth Warren's war on crypto onward. James Murphy, aka Metalon Man, says that this is massive and that the $1 million from the Winklevoss twins to the Commonwealth Unity Fund Super PAC supporting John Deaton, it's incredible. It's massive. So big win here, folks. And look, like I've been saying, crypto is a political force now. There's a lot of money that's been raised, over $160 million via Fairshake, Ripple, A16Z, Coinbase, put their money where their mouth is, and they are backing the pro-crypto candidates. And that includes some Democrats as well. So don't get me wrong, right? And they're kicking out those who are aligned with Elizabeth Warren. So the Democrats, though, overall screwed up listening to Elizabeth Warren and following her. Many of them have pivoted, but it's too late. The narrative, the perspective is already out there that they hate this technology and they're trying to kill it. So you have a lot of young people that hold crypto. You have people who just mess around with it. Like I know, literally, we have some family friends. I know a mom and a dad who have a kid. They just mess around with it, trading it. They're not necessarily supporters of it, but the fact that you're trying to stop them from investing and doing their thing and earning some money, it's pathetic. So Elizabeth Warren poisoned the well here for the Democrats. So it is what it is, and they're going to pay heavily in the elections coming up. Now, speaking of that, the elections, Crypto Super PAC spends $1.3 million on media buy for Arizona Democrat. So this is the first I've been hearing about this person and this situation. The Political Action Committee Protect Progress has used more than $1.3 million to support the campaign of Democratic candidate for Arizona's 3rd Congressional District, according to expenditures filed with the Federal Election Commission. The Protect Progress Super PAC disseminated more than $1.3 million in a media buy to support Yasamin Ansari. The Arizona Democrat will compete for the congressional seat in a July 30th primary against Raquel Tehran and Dwayne Wooten. Though Tehran's and Wooten's policy positions on crypto and blockchain were unclear at the time of publication, Ansari's campaign website stated she supported leading the way in blockchain and crypto innovation. The Democratic candidate also completed Coinbase's Stand With Crypto questionnaire, suggesting she would support pro-crypto legislation if elected to Congress. So going back to my point, the fair shake funds are going to both Democrats and Republicans. Now it's largely Republicans, but many Democrats, like I said, have woken up and departed from Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler, but it's a bit too late. But at least we're seeing some progress on the Democrat front across the country. So at the end of the day, crypto should not be a partisan issue. It shouldn't be. But Elizabeth Warren, like I said, poisoned the well. She created all this nonsense. Now, moving ahead, guys, Animoca Standard Chartered team up in the HKMA stablecoin sandbox. So we're seeing globally the piloting of stablecoins and CBDCs and the testing of blockchain with tokenization and so forth. And some of the biggest names, we got banks, stock exchanges, the largest financial firms in the world. So a day after winding up the consultation period on stablecoin issuer regulations, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority announced the first participants in its stablecoin issuer sandbox. They are a company linked to a large Chinese e-commerce retailer, a local fintech, and coalition of Standard Chartered Bank, Animoca Brands, and Hong Kong Telecommunications. Now, Animoca Brands is big time in the Web3 crypto space. They have tons of capital. They've been investing left and right, especially in GameFi and much more. I'm actually trying to get the CEO of Animoca Brands on the pod, so I'll let you guys know about that. And Standard Chartered Bank, I don't need to explain about that, right? One of the big banks, who's doing as much as they can in crypto. So the participants will undergo an assessment process as the hopeful stablecoin users test their operational plans and communicate with regulators on the proposed regulatory regime. So folks, we're seeing stablecoins being launched globally. Yesterday, I shared the news that State Street, the massive financial firm and bank, they are testing a stablecoin, a settlement token. The folks at VanEck launched the Agora Dollar, AUSD. They are a big Wall Street firm that's been around for a long time. So Ripple is going to be launching their stablecoin soon. So incredible stuff, folks. I'm so bullish on the future of this market. And as always, what we want to find out is which blockchain are they going to launch this token on? Because that's important. Which blockchains are getting the adoption? And that's where you can, strategically invest in different tokens of those said blockchains. So if they're building on ETH or the XRP Ledger or HBAR or Hedera or whatever, right? You can get an idea which blockchains are getting adoption and what's the native token and take a position. Now, that's not the only factor. You got to look at the charts and technical analysis. You got to look at the tokenomics, but anything that's getting adoption will grow in value over time because of Metcalfe's law, where you have network effects. They don't necessarily have to use the token. It's the example I've shared over the years. Facebook, before they even monetized anything, had a valuation of millions of dollars. Why? Because there were people on there. You had activity, and that had potential for monetization. That generated traffic and the potential to then sell ads. Well, blockchain networks, same principle. More people on the network, more builders, the more transactions on the blockchain, the more valuable it becomes, the more the token is being used behind the scenes, because the token greases the rails, right? For transaction fees and so forth. Even if the token itself is not being used, the fact is the token is being used behind the scenes to fund the network, to help things, processes to go through. So this is an important factor you have to take into consideration. And a clear example of that, I would say, is Ethereum. Just look at what ICOs, NFTs, DeFi, and so forth did for Ethereum, even if the token's not being used, just the building on it, right? So pretty incredible stuff. And I'm excited for the future of this market. Folks, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Don't forget to sign up for my free email newsletter on Substack. Also, grab a copy of my book to help support the podcast. It covers crypto's past, present, and future. It's available on Amazon in digital as well as paperback. It's also available on barnesandnobles.com. Grab a couple of copies for your friends and family to help them understand crypto if they want to learn about it. If you bought a copy already, please, please, please leave a rating and review. It would really help me out and support me. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you all later.